And From A to Z is brought to you by Redbox. Redbox has new movies at the box and streaming on demand. Don't miss Tenet, starring John David Washington and Robert Pattinson. Visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch. Aaron Rodgers weighed in on the GOAT debate, something we all love to talk about as fans. And Rodgers put himself squarely in the conversation when he joined the Pat McAfee show with his old teammate, A.J. Hawk, yesterday. Aaron, not exactly known for modesty, but honestly, this is honesty.
There's way too many people labeled the GOAT, or this guy's the GOAT of this guy's the GOAT of that. It used to be greatest of all time is one person, right? But now, because there's way too many GOATs, I think you have to break it out into specific categories. Best winner of all time, person who's won the most championships. Best player, which involves talent and ability and what you did with it. Most talented player,
That'd probably be you.
Best thrower of the football.
That's probably you.
There's all these different ways you can break that out. When it comes to those, maybe not with AJ, but with most people, I'm probably in that conversation.
Good little dig there at the end. All right, Key. So where is Rodgers? Let's use his parameters, which I agree with. There's one GOAT. Where do you have Rodgers in the GOAT debate?
Well, the conversation is one GOAT, and right now that GOAT is probably Joe Montana until Tom Brady decides to hang the cleats up and Aaron Rodgers has to win a couple more Super Bowls to get into that, that GOAT conversation. I mean, at the end, I'll take any of them as my quarterback, but I think he may need to win a couple more championships to kind of get into that Montana, Brady, GOAT conversation, because those are the ones you're gonna argue really when you talk about quarterbacks. You can throw John Elway in there. I mean, it's a bunch of them. It's a bunch of good ones.
I did love how sarcastic he was in the whole thing. I mean, we do break everything down like, well, there's 9 statistical categories about who's the GOAT. Let's just start calling one guy the GOAT. If he's a GOAT, if you want to go with MJ, you want to go with LeBron, choose one. If you want to go with Joe Montana, you want to go with Tom Brady, choose one. That's all you get. That's all you get. Joe Montana would be mine, but I like the way Aaron Rodgers was kind of sarcastic and threw himself into the category. Why not? He has the confidence to do so.
No doubt. Jay, you mentioned the NBA. Let's switch there. James Harden.
Special out of him.
I came here to help him develop his career, and we haven't been able to do that.
If the Jets pick up Darnold's option and keep him, in my opinion, I'm not saying that would be a mistake for the team. I'm saying it would be a disaster for the player. He needs a fresh start.
And that's our Rez trophy in that win over the Panthers. Well, in March of 1997, he held a huge press conference to announce he was going to the NFL. Or everyone so thought. Instead, he spurned the NFL. The New York Jets returned to Tennessee for his senior season and then was drafted the following year by the Colts. His brother Eli did the same thing with the Chargers, opting to be traded to the Giants. We say that because getting your way with regards to the Mannings or even Elway back in the early 80s is not as odd as it seems. Trevor Lawrence, many feel, is in the same boat. Great player, Jets on top of the draft board. Could Lawrence go there, or does he not want to go there? Here's Lawrence yesterday on the Dan Patrick Show, not naming names, but saying, I understand what would happen if I had to switch from orange to green.
Have the opportunity to go somewhere, help someone rebuild if that's what it is, or whatever, and just win. That's what, something I love doing. I think that's what I'm best at is winning, regardless of stats, whatever it is. That's the what I love. So just to have that chance, obviously some places it'll be more of a challenge than others, but I think I'm up for it, and that'll get here when it's here. Just trying to focus now on being great where I'm at.
Indeed. For more on this, let's head to the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. We're joined by Rich Cimini, ESPN Jets reporter, has been on the beat for more than 2 decades. Shell Pennzoil synthetic motor oils made from natural gas give you unbeatable engine protection. The proof's in the Pennzoil based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Rich, I just sort of ran down the situation with Peyton Manning spurning the Jets, Eli Manning spurning the Chargers. Elway did it back in the day to get to move to Denver. You wrote about this yesterday. How likely do you think it is he actually returns to school or pulls the demand we've heard from those 3 guys I mentioned?
Good morning, Zubin. I was actually at that press conference in Knoxville, Tennessee, when Peyton announced he was still in school, spurning the Jets and Bill Parcells. So that's how far I go back. But, I don't think it's a great chance that Trevor Lawrence pulls an Eli Manning. It's been talked about, in the industry among football agents and personnel people, kind of a speculative point. So my thought with the story was to just call around and just examine what the chances are. I think he made it very clear yesterday in the Dan Patrick interview that he's going to do what we've thought all along, that he's going to turn pro. I don't think anyone really thought he was going to go back to Clemson. The question is now, does he look at the options and maybe try to manipulate something to get traded? I think there's some people out there who think he can with that leverage he has, but will he? I think there's probably only a small chance.
What can the Jets do, Rich, this offseason to quiet some of the conversation about Trevor Lawrence potentially wanting to go somewhere else and play?
Well, Key, I think it's the coaching. They're gonna be replacing their coach in 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks, and so that's going to be for a lot of people, the biggest move they make in the off season. They have a ton of cap room. They have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, so they certainly have the resources to get better quickly. But Joe Douglas' decision on who is it going to be, an offensive coach again, like Adam Gase, or are they going to go defense? So I think that hire, will send a message of which direction this organization is going in.
Does it really matter, Rich, whether it's an offense or a defensive coach? How about a coach that is successful that could get an offensive-minded guy that knows what he's doing and a defensive-minded guy, much like Bill Parcells did, because the last several head coaches have been defensive coordinators. Richie Kotite was an offensive mind and Adam Gase was an offensive mind, and we saw how both of those have gone.
Yeah, that didn't work out too well. Some historic losing with Kotite and Gase. And I am in total agreement with you. I think I fell into the trap, and certainly the Jets fell into the trap a couple of years ago because everyone was looking for the quote-unquote next Sean McVay. And the Jets ended up hiring Adam largely because they wanted an offensive guy to develop Sam Darnold, and that didn't work out. So I think they just need to hire the best leader. It could be offense, it could be defense. Maybe it'll be special teams. I mean, look at Joe Judge. He's doing a good job with the Giants. He's a special teams guy. Harbaugh. So I think they just need to hire the best leader, whether he's offense or defense, and let him hire his own staff.
Yes.
So, Rich, I know that you spoke to Bill Cowher, and he said that he had no intention of returning back to head coaching in the NFL. So who do you think the Jets should pursue?
Well, yeah, Bill made that pretty clear because there's been so much speculation about whether he'd come back. I honestly think he'd be a good choice for the Jets, but I really don't see that happening. He made it pretty clear. So a guy, I think they're probably looking at the coordinator route. I mean, there's a few in the league. And if you want to take, I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago in an article, a guy to watch